Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys been enjoying the content channel as of late. It's a little cold out today, so I just got my beanie on and stuff like that. So it's nice and warm now. But I wasn't really planning on talking about this, but until we did our box office recap. But um, my brother showed me a video from a YouTuber. I think it was what, Moist Critical, yeah, and he was talking about the horror that came out from a YouTuber, that being Markiplier, called Iron Lung, which came out this weekend and went off and did fairly really well. Actually, went off and pulled about say like 20 so million, and against like a budget of like 3 million. So and on top of that, it's a self-financed and self-distributed film. So there's no big distributor attached to it, no A24, no Netflix, purely of his own accord. So to go off to do 20 million at the box office is really, really great. Now, that's one part of the whole thing that is people are talking about, at least from that one video, and I can glean that some people may be saying the next part of this statement, which I disagree with, and why I am choosing to do a video now, is that there is a assumption that that his success could be setting a new precedent for independent filmmakers and people who are trying to branch out to do their own thing in theaters and stuff like that. I think that that is completely mischaracterizing what happened with that film and not understanding the parameters of what it takes for someone like a Markiplier to even get to the place that he is at and to garner any kind of returns. First of all, his channel is one of the more well-known channels on YouTube. He's got millions of subscribers, and he's got a big following. So, and I'm pretty sure he's developed stuff also in the past, like TV shows and stuff like that for I believe YouTube and stuff like that. So when you come to the theaters, right, even if you act as your own distributor, you still have to show the theaters that there's something to invest into, because I think that what a lot of people are not taking into account, or would take into account when discussing this, is that even though he is self-distributing the film and that he has self-financed it, he still has to guarantee something to the theaters, because the theaters will not just take any movie. They won't. They will allow you to play your movie in like one auditorium or something like that as like a special event, as long as you guarantee that you're going to pay for it. But if you're asking for multiple auditoriums, multiple theater chains to take on your movie, you have to show the theaters that there is something here worth investing into, because they themselves have to be able to profit off of your project. Because everyone forgets, ticket sales are not 100% given to the distributor. They're split between the theaters and the distributor. So in the case of this film, 40 to 50%, if it plays, depending on the market and stuff like that. But I'm inclined to believe probably just here in the U.S. it's playing. So 40 or 50% of whatever the movie has been making so far, uh, that is going to go back to uh, the theaters, and whatever else is left over, that's what Markiplier is going to end up uh, having for himself. So if we were to break down the math, uh, on a base level, for the movie to do well for Markiplier, it would have to have done at least $12 million, because uh, on a base level, the movie would need to do about 6 million. But again, when it comes to distribution and theatrical, you know, going to theaters and stuff like that, like I said, there's ticket sales taken into account and the percentage cuts that go into play. So if the film needs to do 6 million, if 50% of that is going to go directly back to the theaters anyway, you have to do more than that. So you have to do twice the amount that you would have to do. So 6 times 2, that's where you get to that $12 million number. So Obviously, the film has gone on and done way past that. It did about 22 million so far as I read. So that 10 million that is there, that is where Markiplier is making his profit. That $10 million is going to go back to him, or at least a good portion of that is guaranteed to go to him, because from here on out, it's all profit. So, uh, and the theaters will in fact still probably profit still, but Markiplier is going to be gaining. So that money is going to be going directly to him now, not just towards the investment. It's going directly back to his company and directly back to him. So that's how this all works. So for anybody who might mystify, it's not that he is making 20 or 22 million dollars. That's not what's happening here. He's making some kind of money. Don't get me wrong. He's still making some kind of money off of it, but there's all that still that has to be taken into account, even without a major distributor attached to it. Now, about distribution itself, because there's the other part of this conversation that I'm trying to get them leading into, which is, oh, well, he self-distributed it and he self-financed it. Isn't that a great thing? It is. It's a really great thing. It's a great accomplishment, especially because it's, as far as I can tell, the first success of the year, which is also a great thing. I mean, yeah, the horror films that Send Help beat him out at the box office, but again, very different investments and very different trajectories in terms of seeing a return on investment. In the case of Iron Lung, it made its money back on opening weekend. So, but here's the thing that people have to remember. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great for what he did, but it's a very, 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 very specific thing. And it all ties back to what I was just saying at the beginning, which is you have to show the theaters that there's something worth investing into. In the case of this movie, it all came down to his subscriber base. It came down to his people, supporting him and helping him gain other theaters, to showing that his pre-sales, the ticket sales were showing good increase or progress. That's what motivates theaters. Okay, it's not anything else. It's not ideas or whatever in this and whatever. No, they care about the money. So if you're going to show them that you're going to make some kind of money off of the project, then they'll take it on, you know. And the only reason that ever occurred for his film was because of his subscriber base, because he had millions of subscribers already there. He already had a platform to shoulder on, and that's why you see a lot of these YouTubers migrate out from what they do to the film industry. We saw it with the Raka Raka guys. Now they're working with A24. We saw it last year with Chris Stuckman, with Shelby Oaks. And a lot of these investments end up doing well because, well, in one way, also they're lower cost. They're not higher budgeted risk. And also, so in some cases, they have more times than none. They're playing with major distributors. In the case of Chris Stuckman, it was Neon. And in the case of the Raka Raka guys, it's A24. So there's things there. There's benefits that are already in place. It's not like he was a nobody that just walked into the scene and did what he did. In that case, that'd be a very different story. But that's not how Hollywood works. How Hollywood works is that you have to show them something already. You have to have something procured to them already so that they can see that you're worth investing into. It's not about the talent. Talent is kind of abstract in Hollywood. What they care about is, finances. They care about, money. So if you got a big subscriber base, if like look at all the people that I just mentioned, Raka Rock, Chris Tuck, and all these people, they have millions of subscribers. These are not just little people on YouTube. They are, notable in their little camps and corners of that platform. So if they're going to go walking into a place like Hollywood, they have something like that to shoulder on that pushes them into that sort of sphere. So to suggest that something like Markiplier did just because he self-distributed it, that, oh, this is going to turn to something, this could be a precedent for independent filmmakers. That's setting a bad precedent, in my opinion, because it's not realistic. Because there's a lot of things that these people have already that a lot of other people don't. And that's why a lot of people, unfortunately, have to be able to go to major distributors like an A24 or a Netflix or a Disney or whatever, because they need someone to shoulder and to support their project. And if anybody's going to support you, it's going to be a big distributor, because they'll guarantee you a marketing campaign. They'll guarantee you this and that. In some ways, they'll also, embed themselves into their project. In the case of Shelby Oaks, I remember reading that Neon pulled about $1 million for Chris Stuckman to go reshoot his film because test screenings were not the greatest. And then he had to reshoot a lot of portions of his project. So they shouldered about $1 million for him. And luckily, as far as I saw, the finances, box office wise, it wasn't a bad thing for him. But the point is that these sort of factors are all in place. It's not like Markiplier or whoever just came out of the woodworks and just said, "I heard some movie," and then people came and saw it. It's not like that. There's a lot of things that come into play, whether that be a major subscriber base, whether that be a major distributor involved. There's always something in place, a guarantee or a benefit, in order for people to show up. So, if anything, if any way to look at this, I say that's actually twofold. One is obviously production, something that Hollywood people should be taking note of. Lowering the cost of things is a good thing. Look at the two horrors that came out this weekend with Send Help and this. Send Help was like, I think, what, a $40 million thing, and opening to like 20 something million. Not the best. I'd have to recheck the numbers to be sure, but not the best start for that film. Iron Lung, on the other hand, a $3 million production, went off to do about 20 million. That is great. That is great. So it's lowering the cost of things helps, and it lowers the risk in terms of what kind of uh, margins you need to hit, and seeing a return on investment is more guaranteed when it's lowering the cost. And for another, something that's becoming apparent, social media is a factor. Social media does dictate a lot of the flow, of interest nowadays. And in the case of Iron Lung, again, he had a large subscriber base that was already there for him to support him. And just generally, with how the internet works, personalities like that are going to get more attention because that's just the way of the internet. And people are going to be, talking it up in a certain way, and they will eventually perhaps find their ways into theaters. And in the case of Iron Lung, that was the case. So there's things that are always there. You have to have something already there in terms of a benefit to even get to theaters, to even have a wide release. Those are all things that have to be in place. Or you have a major distributor involved who's going to go to bat for you, who's going to support your project, who's going to put money down, who's going to be talking to the theater chains to get you a wide release window. Those are all things that are in place, that should be in place, in order for you to see any kind of results that like Iron Lung got this past weekend. But it's not like anybody can go out and do that. It's not like someone, like me or whatever like that, can just walk into a theater and just be like, yeah, let's do this. If anything, I actually do have experience with with uh, with buying out an auditorium. Not to toot my own horn, but I remember I went to the TCL, a Chinese theater, for a film for one of my projects for a film festival, like way back, like it was like a couple of years ago, and they luckily had a discount there, but it was like in the hundreds of dollars range when I had to when I my family ultimately helped pay for it, thankfully, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it. But I looked at it, did some research. Without that discount, it costs like thousands of dollars to secure an auditorium. So, and that's just one, and that was in a film festival which were playing films already, you know, and there's the whole process of being able to convert it to the big screen, and all that sort of stuff, sending them the files. There's a whole process that goes behind it, and it's not a cheap endeavor. So, but if you have a major distributor that's going to come to bat for you, that will cover the cost. or if you have certain things in place, like certain benefits, the theater chains themselves may in fact widen the release because they want to be able to profit off of it as much as possible. So, but it all stems from what you're bringing to the table. If it was just me, right? Let's just say I just walked into a theater right now and just said, "Hey, I have a little short," I would never do this because I'm just not that type of person. Um, because I just don't care for that attention. But like, if I were to do that, they wouldn't guarantee me anything. I would have to pay off all those auditoriums, which are thousands of dollars, and likelihood of getting any return on investment is low because also my work is not that kind of, it's not like that sort of stuff. It's not like, oh, major, mainstream people are going to go see this thing. No. So there's always those sort of things that are on they're there that you have to consider. Subscriber base, major distributors, attention on social media, all those things play into it. And you know, it's not like any regular person can just walk in there and just do it. It's not like that. So I just saw, I think it was Moist Critical saying that, and I was just like, that's not how this works. It's a very particular endeavor, and it's not to downplay what happened with Iron Lung. It's great. What happened to Iron Lung is really, really great, and hopefully he puts that money that he collects from this film and invests it into his own studio. That's a great thing. But I wouldn't mischaracterize it. This is a YouTuber, a big YouTuber, coming into theaters and making some money. That's the groundwork for this. Not anybody can do that. Not anybody can do that. The only people who can do that are people like him or people like Chris Stuckman and Raka Raka who had major distributors attached to them that are going to go to bat for them and guarantee them a wider release. So there's always something that has to be there. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up with nothing more than maybe a screen or two. So that's, I just wanted to just like kind of like throw my 2 cents in that conversation because I just noticed some people, mainly just that one video, just talking like that, and I was like, that's not how this works at all, at least to my opinion. But you guys know your thoughts on the whole Iron Lung thing. Do you guys feel like I do, or did you even see the movie? I didn't care to see it personally, uh, but if you saw it, let me know how it was. My brother saw it. He said it was good. It was good. Um, but let me know your thoughts relating to the success and the overall film itself. Let me know all your thoughts relating to it in the comment section below. And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.